What is going on, guys? It's the Variety Film Brothers. I'm Andrew.
I'm Thomas.
Welcome to Variety Discussion, and today we are really bringing the variety into Variety Discussion because we are talking about Gaim Gaiden, Kamen Rider Zangetsu, and Kamen Rider Baron. So this is our first Kamen Rider movie we're going to be covering on the channel. So there's a lot to talk about here, okay? Because this is like a completely different genre, than what we're used to. It's still action, know? So there's still a lot of really high energy elements to this, but Kamen Rider is just something of its own animal. It's just its own thing, and it is so like remember that with our scores because it's very this is not a lot of people's cup of tea. Not a lot of people are gonna really love this. It's cheap. It's like pretty rushed. This whole movie is only an hour and 2 minutes long, and technically it's two movies, so they're about 30 minutes each. But I love this one. I always love coming back to this one. So this movie, we'll start with talking about Zangetsu's portion first, since it's the first half of the movie, and I think it's really good. I think it has some problems, and we'll go through that, but I really like the story here. I really like the characters here. So the first scene is actually kind of starting on a negative note, something I dislike. The scene with Takatora talking to Kota, telling him that the world is going to end due to the Helheim Forest invasion. This scene was actually in the series, but it wasn't this scene. They reshot it, and I don't like that. It would have been honestly much better if they would have just like replayed the scene from the show. I don't know why they would spend the extra money. They're not even in the same place either. Yeah. Like it's not the right location. So I'm just like, I get why this is important in the narrative because it's something on Takatora's mind through the whole thing, something that like keeps him really stressed and really like unhappy, basically. So I get why this conversation is there. But why, again, waste the money? When you're working on, like, a micro budget like this movie is, just a very weird decision. The first few scenes are actually very rushed. We go straight from that scene to where Toka is attacking some Kurokage troopers. I like that it's at night, though. I don't really know why she's attacking these people. They're kind of just burning some plants. I think it would have been more impactful if she was actually like trying to stop a certain plan from happening, like she actually snuck into the building and was trying to do something, maybe retrieve some information, but I mean, I guess taking out Kurokage troopers is fine too. Maybe it was her first time using the belt. We don't actually see her like stealing it because it's implied that she steals it from Yggdrasil, the company that Takatora works at. So that would have been a nice scene to see. I would have liked some more context there, because Toka, I think, is a good character. It's just like, when, you're building up to a surprise, like, twist villain, it's really obvious who that is when you only add one person to the cast.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should have just come out with it at the very beginning. I think I honestly would have preferred it if we would have just laid it all out there, because then it kind of becomes like a sort of Kill Bill movie. I don't think you've seen that. Well, we're going to review Kill Bill on this channel. It's going to happen. Very good. I'll just say that right now. But, just kind of like still have the focus be on Takatora, but also see her determination from the very beginning. I think would have been better.
What I think is really messed up is the servant scene whenever like the father picks the same age as Takatora. Do you think that's like a little weird?
See, I mean, no, for sure. I actually really like the school subplot. I really like that. That really shows how messed up that company is.
Yeah.
How messed up Takatora's dad is. Like, because there are so many corrupt people in that organization. And I kind of like, I mean, we know about Duke, obviously. Duke is very corrupt. Like, he's, like, in the company now. But I like the idea that the company has been, like, corrupt for generations. You know what I mean? Like, this company just attracts bad people.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, actually. But I think that subplot is really interesting. And really, I think that's why Toka is such a great character. Because, like, she honestly has a pretty cool backstory, in my opinion. Very dark. We'll get into that later, too. This movie has some crazy dark stuff in it. A lot darker than, like, our Power Rangers could get away with, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like night and day, man. I do like the scenes where she is, like, her and Takatora are younger and are, like, talking a little bit. I like the crappy apple pie she makes. I think they should have been a little bit older, though, in those scenes. I think it'd make it a little more impactful if they were, like, maybe 14 or 15, like, early teenagers. Because seeing two, like, kids be in love, like, kind of gives me Phantom Menace vibes.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. She has, like, motivations against Takatora, and, you know, his whole family. Sid is not his family.
Mm-hmm.
Sid has nothing to, like, help her. You know what I mean? I mean, she could have, honestly, if she were smart, she would have stolen all his lock seeds. And that would have given her a much bigger arsenal of weapons to fight Takatora with. But she doesn't do that.
You would think that he would have like transformed as soon as he got like hit.
Mm-hmm.
No, he just kind of took it like for
yeah. Sid is just he's dumb, man, but like he's also very weak. I thought this was super cool when I was young and the first movie came out. I was like, oh, this is so edgy. We've got blood.
Yeah.
So she takes her sword and hits him with the blade, the bladed end, and he like knocks him and he like spits out a pretty decent amount of blood. And as a kid, I was just like, whoa, blood, that's cool. It's dark. I'm an adult. But, like, that should have cut his face open. And, it's just weird because, like, she has a shield. If she would have hit him in the face with the shield, that response would have been perfectly logical.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, just a minor alteration in choreography. I feel like the director should have said something about that. And then she also attacks Yoko. And I actually really like that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I like the setting of it. It's in a dark room with red lights. Very cool. We could have gotten some really good choreography there, but it's over in like 45 seconds. It's a shame. They could have done some cool stuff there.
Yeah, and she's smart too.
Next up in my notes, the like love scene, like the later on love scene that Toka and Takatora have, I don't think is very good. I like the callback to like the apple pie and all that, but like the scene where she is like hugging him.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, I can tell you're really stressed out, man. This movie introduces Takatora's father, who was never in the series, just to kill him off. And, like, I do think he's interesting. We find out how he's a very bad dude, and we find out some of the history on him, and I think that's all really interesting. It just seems like a lot, like a really big piece to just introduce in this, like, post-series movie. And something that kind of bothers me is that, like, Toka is really set on killing this whole family, when it was really just the dad that did anything wrong. Takatora didn't know anything about it. Michi didn't know anything about it. I don't think she should have been like, I'm going to murder this whole family, this whole bloodline, and make it to where it never existed. I think that's a little much. What do you think?
Yeah, like, it's funny how she mentioned it to Takatora, and he's like, huh?
Yeah, even he was, like, kind of confused. He was like, you already killed my father. You already had your revenge. What are we doing this for?
Yeah.
And, like, because Takatora agreed that his dad was a bad dude, I don't think he was really crazy about her killing him. I don't think they could have been, like, a couple after she revealed that. But, again, I just don't think... I think there just could have been a better reason why. Like, maybe she wanted to take the whole company for herself and, like, fix it. And if she did that, then she would have to kill Takatora and Michi because they're both working for it at the time. And I don't know. I think maybe just fleshing out her motivations a little bit more would have made her an even better character. But I think it's good.
I would say so as well.
I do also enjoy the final fight of that movie. I think it's pretty well. The Eden suit, by the way, so beautiful. I love the red in it. It's gorgeous, man. But something that you pointed out that really bothers me. Like, it didn't really bother me before, but now it's just like, oh, why? So at the end of the fight, Takatora has the upper hand, and he has struck Toka. He has won. And so he walks over to her, and she reminds him, if you let me live, I will come back, and I will kill you and your brother. No questions about it. And so he decides to let her live. I buy that, like, that isn't inherently the problem. I buy that he would spare her, but why leave her with the belt? Or the lock seed. Why not destroy both? She is powerless at this point. Why not? Because, it's not even just his life that's on the line here. It's his brother, too. And he's very overprotective of his brother. But the fact that he left the belt, dude, I never realized how big of a mistake that was until you brought it up.
And then just send Duke just like, you know what? You can kill her.
Yeah, see, like, we talked about this, too. And, like, I do like that Duke is willing to just murder her like that. And that shows such a difference between him and Takatora, because they're very different characters, like they're on the same side at the point in time of this movie, but they're very different. My score for Gaim Gaiden Kamen Rider Zangetsu is an 86.
Okay. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. I gave mine a 92.
92.
Yeah.
Just for this half, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just for this.
So overall, I really like it. I do think it's deserving of a B. I just think there are a few things that could have been fixed up and, fleshed out a little bit more. I know we're only working with 30 minutes each here for these movies, so I'm trying to be pretty generous on top of that. And like I said, micro budget.
Yeah.
These things are made on almost no money.
Mm-hmm.
Like the majority of the budget surely goes to paying the actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like
and the CGI.
And the CGI as well. Those are probably the biggest chunks of money that it takes to make this. So moving on to Gaim Gaiden, Kamen Rider Baron. I'm just gonna say it. My feelings towards this one are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one has so many problems. Like I wrote 13 or 14 notes for the last one. This one I only have 5 notes for, and they're basically just like insults. They're not as much notes. They're kind of like, oh, this is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid. So I don't like this story at all. There really isn't much of a story here, but it doesn't have the backstory that's connected to this pre-established universe like the first one does. Like the first one, the Yggdrasil company plays a big part in it, and this one, just this random guy's company plays a big part of it. Like that wouldn't inherently make it as bad, but since this is like a sequel, but also like takes place in the middle of the series, it kind of just works better when you stay as rooted in the series as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of new random characters. One who looks exactly like Kaito. His name is Shapul, played by Yutaka Kobayashi, the same guy who plays Kaito. And I guess I'll say something nice real quick. His range is honestly pretty good for this caliber of movie. Like he goes from playing like super brooding to way too happy.
Yeah.
Like, in the same production. Like, definitely has to do both of those roles in the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I kind of have a problem with Shapul. I think he's just too over the top crazy. I think just making him immature or just kind of stupid or just basically showing that he's unhappy would have been enough. Like I get they want to like contrast him from Kaito as much as possible, but it was overdone.
Yeah, like it really seems like a 8-year-old kid who just
really
got
does.
taken away his iPad and took away his junk food.
Yeah, exactly. He acts like a little kid, and like the last one was pretty dark, but this one's crazy because it'll have a scene where like Shapul is acting like a 6-year-old, and like right next to a scene where it shows like Kaito's parents' deaths, and it's very dark stuff. Like we have an abusive father storyline here, or subplot I should say. So there's a lot of conflicting tones in this one. Like the last one feels pretty moderate throughout, but this one it just like shoots up and down like crazy. And like I'll admit it definitely has you not expecting it when you see, Kaito's dead mom. I admit it gets you by surprise, but it's like, what kind of surprise was this? I wasn't really expecting that.
It wasn't like a shocking thing where like you didn't expect the character to do that. It's just like, oh,
It's just like, we're doing this today.
Yeah.
Like imagine like you're watching an episode of like SpongeBob, and then like you see that it's like,
and the next scene,
what are we watching here?
Next scene, he pulls an AK-47 and threatens the Krusty Krab, and then pulls up the Krabby Patty formula.
Yeah. So, one nice thing though, they actually did a pretty decent job keeping the continuity of this. I really like that there's a scene where Shapul tries to use Kaito's driver, and it doesn't work. Like, dude, I know it's such a small detail, but dude, if they would have had it to like where he like takes it out and puts it on and it works, I'd give this movie a 0. Like, that is such a big piece of Gaim lore, such a big piece of continuity. If you break that, I'm done. Like, I can't give any excuses to that, but they got it right. So fortunately, I don't have to have a rant about it. I also really like Alfred's suit, the Tyrant suit. So cool. I love that it's like all black underneath and has this like almost a devilish pair of horns on it. So cool. Paired with the red, kind of dark red dragon fruit arms. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Such a cool suit. Pretty intimidating too.
Yeah. I mean, the cape's kind of weird, but I mean...
I'm not a huge fan of the cape either, but I'm just really not a cape person in general. But I do think Alfred, the name Alfred, is supposed to be like a Batman like nod because I mean he looks like a butler and his name is Alfred. How can that not be a Batman
Joke.
reference? Like, come on.
The CGI, like, you know, the stuff they added, the split screen wasn't terrible.
No, they actually did a pretty good job of making that look realistic. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you're working with such a small budget like that, it'd be really easy to like make the scenes where Kaito is basically talking to himself look really bad. Like that could have really been messed up. But it looks pretty decent all the way throughout, so I have to give it that.
Yeah.
So another really big thing I don't like about this movie though are the random dirt bikes they pull out of nowhere. Like if they would have just given the thinnest explanation to why those are there, even just two random people leave their dirt bikes in the middle of nowhere, and then like later on in the fight, like Alfred like runs over to one first and then tries to like drive away on it. Like it'd be stupid, but at least it would make sense because you can't just like pull dirt bikes out of nowhere, man.
They could have got the Lockseed bikes.
Yeah, they could have done that too. I mean, I don't think they could have done as many stunts on those, but I'm glad you remembered those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why they didn't use those, or they could have dismantled those props by then. But that would have actually totally fixed my problem with it because Kaito already has one at this point. So if Ryoma gave one to Alfred along with the driver, again, would have had no problems with it then. But as it is, it's just really weird and leads to like 4 minutes of dirt bike choreography that I just don't like.
Like backflips and wheelies until they duel and
Yeah,
hit each
it's
other.
like it's a shame because the suit is so good and Baron Apple Arms looks so good too. Like I would have really liked a really nice fight like in front of that sunset. It would have looked so cool. I also don't like how the dragon fruit energy lock seed seems to turn Alfred into an Inves. There's really no reason for it to do that, I don't think, because the energy lock seeds are pretty disconnected like from the regular ones and don't work the same way. You know, like they don't even come from the fruits. They're completely artificially made from what I understood. So yeah, it has some problems for sure, to put it simply. So for our scores, what do you score this one?
I'm gonna score it an 85.
85? That's still really nice.
Yeah.
I give this one a 70. So it's still like fine. I'm okay with it. I think it does some good things, and I just love Gaim so much. It's hard for me to like. Oh, excuse me. It'd be hard for me to give any Gaim thing much of a lower score than 70.
Yeah.
So overall, I would have to recommend this movie, not as a gateway into Kamen Rider, not as a gateway into Gaim. Definitely watch the series first. Or this will make absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Like no sense at all. But like we said at the beginning of the video, Kamen Rider is such an interesting thing, you know, like, and people will compare it to Power Rangers so easily, but it is so different. Dude, we have people hanging here. We have like abusive father subplots. We have, you know, like liters of blood like being punched out of people's mouths.
And like the designs too are totally different. Than
It goes for a
Power
totally
Rangers.
like the fact that people will look at a Kamen Rider suit and think that it's a Power Ranger is honestly very, it's kind of silly to me, honestly. Like how are these really even in the same ballpark to you?
Yeah, like look at the Apple Lockseed like transformation, and then look at your standard red Power Ranger. Like it does not look the same. It does not.
Dude, the fact that they're able to make an apple look as good as it does in this movie, like I'm sure we're gonna cover more Gaim stuff on this channel. Like even though our current subscribers are probably not going to be crazy about it.
Probably not.
It's just one of those like just personal, you know, things that you specifically really see something in, and like 100 people could tell you that it's crap, and it would just go in one ear and out the other. You know what I mean? Like it's just I see something really special in this, and if you don't, I totally get it.
Yeah.
But I can't get in your boat on that one. I think that's gonna wrap us up though. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
I don't think so.
Alright, so this has been a very interesting variety discussion. We're probably going to get right back to our schedule after this with The Mandalorian, and then The Avengers, and then the Deadpool movies, and then we're going back to Star Wars for a little bit, and then we might throw another Gaim movie in the mix pretty soon somewhere. I don't know. I think that's going to wrap us up on this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far into the video. Be sure to like and comment down below if you have anything to say about the movie or the review. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people confused about this one, so I want to know what you guys think. And be sure to subscribe for more content just like this, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace!